I clicked on the light and I walked over to the interrogation table. When I met with the cold steel of the seat under my heavy clothing, I noted that the young girl, maybe no older than 6, had her shoulders scrunched up to her neck as if she were cold, and even though there was a long blanket around her. Fear. It's the only explanation for her shivering. Soon enough, her mother's hand closed around her frame and comfortably rubbed her where her arms are. Deciding that now was a good enough time to begin, I scratched my throat, and I spoke casually but with a bit of comfort so I could get her to speak to me. "Hello, Katie. My name is Mr. Richards. I'm a detective here, and I'm here to ask you a couple questions about the incident a few days ago. Is that alright?" Slowly, Katie's head nodded, and she whimpered slightly, her eyes battling to hold back tears. I couldn't blame her for wanting to cry. From all the photos I've seen from this case, it wasn't pretty. This young girl had seen it firsthand. What exactly? That's what I had to work out of her, but we'll probably have to take it slow. She'd already looked like she was about to break down, and she hadn't even uttered a word. As I opened my mouth to ask the first question, she stops me by pushing forward a piece of paper with different colors drawn over it. Slowly, I reached for the paper and pulled it closer so I could see it better. I held it up to my eye level, and soon enough, my eyes widened, abandoning my once perfect poker face. On the paper was a drawing of another little girl. You could say it was a girl. I could only guess by the red ribbon in her white, messy, short hair. I couldn't tell much from the poor quality of the drawing, due to Katie's age, but there was something in the thing's hand that I could not make out. It was a red, lumpy, pear-like circle. I placed it onto the desk and I pushed it back towards Katie. "Can you tell me what this is?" I forced kindness into my words, but once I asked, Katie burst into tears and pointed to the red object. "Micah." Once I heard the name, I stopped breathing. It felt as if a golf ball was in my throat and was growing, and I couldn't swallow my own spit. You see, Micah was the case's victim, and more importantly, it was Katie's 4-year-old brother. I was confused as to how this red blob could have been Micah. Was this thing eating him? I snapped out of it once I heard a choked cry. Her mother was holding Katie as she clutched her shirt, and she was bawling her eyes out as her mother stroked her back. She had informed me that what was in this thing's hand was some of Micah's internal organs. His heart, to be exact. I was shocked. I couldn't breathe. But the interview had to continue, so I forced myself to keep asking questions. For the purposes of solidarity and due to the lack of communication in cases like this one, I have been provided with a microphone and a webcam to keep a video journal for this case. Case number is 19442670001. It is currently in progress, and I am flying it solo. Honestly, there isn't any reason to play cool in this. The whole thing is fucking scary as hell. Disgusting, too. The first day, I was sure it was some bullshit dream some kid had, but when I saw all the blood, I was proven wrong. The victim is Micah Stregenston, 4 years and 8 months of age before death, found dead in his own bedroom. The only window in the room is right across from the bed, so the killer had a clean getaway. The victim's mother has informed us that she did close said window before going to sleep and leaving his room at 8 p.m., and didn't wake up until a scream was heard from her daughter's bedroom. Due to the poor quality of the picture, I've not been able to depict exactly what the killer looks like. It seems human enough, except for what seems to be a long appendage coming from its mouth, and its teeth are sharp, yellow. It seems like something straight out of a child's imagination, but aside from those features, they seem to be smiling, and their eyes are just black holes, red dots in the middle. But after the child has calmed down, after Katie has calmed down a little bit, I plan on having her describe this killer to one of our police sketchers again, in hopes of getting a better picture, a more realistic view. So that marks the end of entry 1. Katie has not calmed down enough to cooperate with us at all in this investigation. She insists on having her mother with her at all times, which is fine, makes sense. She's 6, but her mother will barely let her speak to us, and we can't get anything helpful out of her. I've attempted to be kind and try to spend time with the girl to maybe help her get more comfortable in speaking with us, but nothing's worked, and we're not making any progress. That's all I have for this update. Last night, it was my turn to stand watch over the Stragenstons' temporary home. Obviously, they couldn't stay in their normal home because it is currently a crime scene. But these nightly watches, they don't really make sense to me. I really doubt anything's gonna happen while a cop just sits on his ass watching a house that's not even the same one. I mean, how is this thing supposed to find them if we've moved them to a completely different location? We got security systems and cameras, and doesn't matter. Sitting out there doing watch, your ass falls asleep before you even do. It doesn't make sense. I don't think it's gonna help. It might give them peace of mind, but I don't think it's gonna push this case forward at all. But we're gonna keep having them. New patrols every 3 hours. So other than that, nothing. So end of this entry. Today was another day of the investigation, and just as I assumed, nothing came of last night. Patrol saw nothing. Nothing tried to enter the house. No one was harmed. We're not making any progress. When I returned to the station after my shift, I did find that my laptop was open, if someone was using it, but after asking around, nobody did, or at least nobody told me they did. The thing that was curious though is the window in my office was open when I got back, which I don't remember doing. I don't think it's any problem, but there was a bit of concern raised when I looked at the windowsill and saw what appeared to be dried blood. I attempted to have forensics get a sample of it and check it out to see if it was in fact blood, but other than that, there's nothing going on. We're making no headway. Sick fuck still out there, and there's nothing I can do. Trying, believe me, we're trying, but there's no leads. All we've got to go off is a young girl's memory and some drawing of what looks like a horrible Play-Doh monster. This. Keep trying. That's all for now. It's been a week. And nothing has happened. Except Katie. The good thing is Katie has come out of her shell a little bit, and she has finally decided to try and help me redraw the creature with one of our sketchers. And I can only hope that at this point she remembers enough accurately to help us get some kind of real description. The blood sample from my window didn't match any of our suspects or anyone else at the station. It didn't come up for a match at all. I checked over my laptop, but there were no fingerprints, and there was no other blood or anything in my office. The only thing that happened that was strange was I had crime scene photos saved on my laptop, and they did seem to be copied. There were 2 copies of them on the laptop, but they didn't seem to be tampered with or even moved at all. They were just doubles in the file that they were originally in. I mean, who the hell would just make copies of the photos and then not take those copies? Why would they leave them where they made them? I don't know. I'm just not going to dwell on it. It could be a computer glitch for all I know. I don't know much about the damn things. So hopefully we can get Katie to give us some kind of real description, and I've deleted all the extra copy of the photos. I'm having some of our IT guys put some encryption on my laptop. Hopefully that'll work, but for right now, that's all I have. It's the end of this update. The drawing went well. We had something way more recognizable, albeit still covered in details that seem to come straight out of a child's horror book, but for the most part, most of the details were pretty spot on, and they were pretty descriptive, so hopefully we can find someone other than those few details that matches the description. but what she described to me still had a few of those strange, grotesque details. It seemed human, of course, but it at the same time it wasn't. Almost animalistic, if you will. The appendage coming from its mouth was much longer than I thought it was originally. It seemed as if it could wrap around its own neck several times. Katie explained it as covered in gooey, red, icky stuff. Assuming she means blood. I'm assuming it's blood. The teeth were again yellow and, as Katie described them, sharp like a doggy's teeth. The hair, she said, was white and really messy, which is good. That gives us something to go on. It's not every day you see someone walking around with white hair, so I think that's a great lead. When it came to the eyes, they were just like in her drawing, black holes with a glowing red center. I mean, you see these people all the time that are messing with the way they look, getting these surgeries and stuff. Maybe it was just someone who has, had a bunch of piercings. Maybe they'd gotten one of those weird eye tattoos. I don't know, but it's definitely given us more to go off than we've had. As we were doing the drawing, of course, I kept asking Katie if she was making some stuff up, or maybe she was mistaken about some of the details, but she just kept assuring me that everything she was telling me was something that she saw, something that she could see on the killer. I'm still unsure if it's something that she truly believes, or if it's just her mind playing tricks on her, or her mind's way of coping, but no matter how many times I ask, she insists that it was real. But with the drawing, Katie insisted that we draw it in the way that she saw, and she wouldn't cooperate otherwise, so our sketcher did have to draw the thing holding the organs. She was a little fuzzy on the details of exactly which organs they were, so we had to kind of improvise. It just kind of drew some general intestines on there, and sounds ridiculous. I sound ridiculous. The whole situation is I'm talking about sketching some weird creature holding a small boy's organs all the time in the force. I never thought I'd be in a situation like this, but we gotta get as much information as we can if we want to catch this guy, girl. I don't know. It seems more like a girl the way that Katie describes her. She says that she, quotes, was wearing a school uniform. It was black and white, long sleeves, stained in red, assumedly from the blood of the young boy. Obviously, we didn't put too much detail into the drawing while Katie was around because we freak her out, but the sketcher was going to go in and cover in more of the details after she had left the room. But I think overall Katie was happy with the drawing, which was good because we were able to get the drawing that we needed. Like I said, a lot of the details are still a bit childish, but white hair, school uniform, possibly female, those are all really good leads, and hopefully it brings us somewhere, because I'm tired. I'm tired of this case. I'm tired of, there's a fear, almost fear in the air, because if that person could do something this horrible to a 4-year-old boy, what could we see next? Every minute that person is still out there, I worry. Oh God, I worry for someone out there. But we'll keep dredging on. We got more details than we've had in a long time, so hopefully it works out. Hopefully catch this motherfucker. I apologize. I'm told that I shouldn't cuss as much in these video diaries, but it makes me sick. This case makes me sick. I can't. It's hard to control your language when you're this sick to your stomach all the time. But like I said, we'll keep trying. It's the end of this entry. Katie and her mother were found dead today in their home. All of the windows were smashed, glass stained in blood were the walls. everything in the house was trashed, that dropped or smashed, demolished completely. Smell is the worst of it. Blood, bodily fluid, bleach, as if someone tried to clean burnt wood, perfume, stench. The two were found in the kitchen, where every single thing from the cupboards was thrown, and somehow every item in the kitchen was covered in blood. Everything. They were covered in blood, or some exterior or interior body part, right down to the bones. Even the veins, they were stripped apart. The bodies, they were stripped apart. And even though nothing about the bodies were whole, we could separate Katie from her mother's remains because of burns that we found on Katie's remains. Apparently she was she was thrown into the oven and then messily dissected, spilled back onto the floor. There was wood in the oven. We were hoping to find fingerprints or something, but it was burnt to shit. There was nothing. We couldn't do anything. Couldn't find anything on it. There wasn't enough evidence to explain exactly what happened to the mother, but there were 5 bottles of perfume empty in her esophagus, crammed in there, broken. Every single piece of her that we found was just drenched in this perfume. You could smell it. God, you could probably smell it from a mile away. Bleach was found all over the ground, the walls, the ceiling. We still don't know why this killer even targeted these people. It's random. It seems random. There are no ties. There's no reason. That's when it happened. I'm in the kitchen. I'm looking at all of this, and I get called into the other room, and I walk. I walk into the other room, and I didn't get to finish my last journal update, so I'll try now. It was horrifying. Inside the bedroom were a couple of my co-workers from the station. Four good men were hung against the wall by their throats with their own belts, impaled by some kind of rods, some metal. There were also teeth. We found teeth inside their bodies. After doing some of the forensic work, we did find out that the teeth belonged to a few of the police dogs from the station. Their own dogs that were in custody of these men. Plastic bags were thrown over their heads, obviously in some kind of effort to suffocate them, but we haven't been able to finish all the autopsies, so we're not sure what part of this killed them. And God, I hope they died early. Their skin was stapled to the walls. The only clothing on their bodies were some jeans, but something smashed their legs, destroyed them. They were covered in blood. God, it was torture. And I hope that I hope they didn't live through all of it. Trust me, I didn't mean to end the last journal where it did, but that wasn't the only time I've puked today. In total, 6 people were found dead in that house. 5 dogs found in the back, mutilated, the teeth removed, obviously for the purposes I mentioned before. The house will be quarantined, and all the evidence will be gathered. God, I don't think I can do this anymore. I've seen enough blood and guts to last me a lifetime in one house. I can't. I quit. I can't. I'm done with this investigation. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm deleting all the photos right now and... Wait. Oh, I never scanned this drawing. No, how is this on here? I didn't color it either. Nobody did. I couldn't have done it in my sleep. Why is this... Someone had... Wait. Unless the sketcher was here last night. I'm being crazy. The killer couldn't have finished the drawing, scanned it in my computer, kidnapped and killed all the men in one night. No one saw her? Why isn't there any blood on the keyboard? I gotta check the security footage. That's the end of this update. Okay, let me confirm that someone was in here. God, I can't believe I didn't do this sooner. We keep security cameras up for a reason. What? It started on Tuesday. I went through all the footage. I went back to Tuesday. When I saw the blood on the window pane of my laptop. And sure enough, after I left the room, this thing. Katie was right about the way it looks. Exactly how I drew it. I can't believe we're even calling it a she. It's a fucking monster. When I went through last night's footage, the first thing I saw was this thing's fucking face. It was smiling right into the camera. It was disgusting. I kept looking away. I barely caught that it held up this piece of paper that "Call Me Red Abyss." Stupid name. What the hell? What kind of fucked up world? I feel like I'm not even... None of this feels real. But it moved the paper and it just kept smiling at me. It just kept smiling at me. It's gonna haunt my fucking dreams forever. I was about to click off, but then its mouth opened and this tongue, whatever appendage it was, the tongue came out. Long. God, was it long. It wiggled it all over the camera. It went all over the camera. Cameras are fucked. It went black. Static. I checked all the other cameras, the same thing. This thing, it licked. God, it sounds so fucking ridiculous. It licked all the cameras and then destroyed them. There's nothing. There's no footage. We haven't had footage for a couple of days. I don't know how the fuck nobody's noticed this until now. That won't focus. It's just static. The camera squirts static until they die. I'm going home. I need to get my head straight. This damned thing is still in my head. It's the end of this fucking update. I've looked through every single one of these entries, and the information that Detective Richards has collected has been a lot of help. Today, Richards was found dead in his bedroom. Fellow Detective Matthews discovered his body. I'm from a nearby town. My name is Detective Jameston, and I'll be ending this journal for Richards myself. I will continue his work and investigate every single one of Red Abyss's attacks around the rest of the country. Richards either forgot to mention or didn't happen to know that this wasn't the only town that Red Abyss has attacked. It seems hard to believe, but those mysterious killings, the unsolved mysteries, that's typically her. Red Abyss can kill as she wants, when she wants, where she wants. And so far we found no meaningful information as to why, except for some unnatural lust for blood. Her gender isn't truly known as female or any sex at all really, but it seems closer to feminine as we understand. As for Detective Richards' death, it seems more basic than any other killings that she's made. 5 stabs into the chest, and he choked on his own blood. The only thing out of the ordinary was a writing in blood above Richards' bed, which read, "Found me." To my understanding, it was written up there to distract him as she snuck up behind him. She must have known about the investigation and were almost likely in danger for taking on this work. But that's why I'm posting this here, so that the world will know about these grisly killings and you'll know the story, remember the name, and remember to never, ever let your guard down.